I don't know how loud this mic is, but hopefully you guys can hear out at the back table. So when we have the speakers, they're audible to everyone here. Excellent. Well, time to kick this off. So, good evening, everyone. Business owners, friends, members from politics, and everyone who's in the room today. Lovely to see so many familiar faces coming together once more to celebrate Business Month, Small Business Month, out here at Acceler8 Cumberland, brought to you by the jointly by the Cumberland City Council and the Greater Cumberland Chamber of Commerce. My name is Brian, and I'm the Vice President of the Chamber, and will be your host this evening. Before we start, just like to acknowledge that we are meeting on land that was, is, and always will be land of our first people. And while I pay my respects to Aboriginal and Indigenous elders, I also pay my respects to elders of all communities who have walked this land before me and before all of us. And I pray that their spirit of land and spirit of togetherness will live with all of us in the years to come. Without much ado, let's kick it off. And I'd love to invite our Mayor of Cumberland City Council, Councillor Lisa Lake, to give us the mayoral and welcome address. Please.
Thank you. Goodness, that stage is nearly as precarious as the scooter ramp I saw as I drove around the park this afternoon. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Acceler8 Cumberland. Thank you so much for coming. It's really lovely to see you all in the room. Some very familiar faces, some very old familiar faces, and lots of new ones too, and that's really great. I know that there has been programs like this in the past, but not down this end of town before. So I'm really, really happy to see that putting something on down in this end of town has been so welcomed. And we've got the wonderful support of you all in this room. So it's terrific. Thank you for coming. Can I also start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land, the Darug people, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And can I just acknowledge a few people in the room tonight. Firstly, I'm really happy to see my very old friend, Senator Tim Ayres, very old friends, Assistant Minister for Trade and Manufacturing, straight off the plane from Canberra, I think, probably a little bit weary, but thank you so much for coming, we really appreciate it. And also the Honourable Peter Primrose, NLC, New South Wales Parliament, thank you so much for coming tonight. And of course, we all know the President of the Greater Cumberland Chamber of Commerce. Where is he? Oh, there he is, walking around. Sit down, everyone. And we have some local councillors here tonight from Cumberland, of course. I can see Councillor Faruqi, Councillor Garai, and Councillor Hughes. Thank you for coming and being part of tonight's really engaging event. And also we've got some wonderful speakers. Carlos Antonius, Chief Executive Officer of the Bubble Tea, Chow Time. Thank you for coming. And we have Jenny Din, she's the Director of CoLab Space. We're going to hear from her later. Bob Croft, Director of EZ Marketing. And Louise Sparks, the founder of the Pineapple Marketing and Promotions Group. Thank you so much for being part of tonight. We appreciate it. So tonight is about welcoming you all here firstly to celebrate the Small Business Month. And I hope that tonight you'll have the opportunity to make some new connections, build relationships, and learn new methods to grow your business. It's by all of us working together that we know we can build the future prosperity of this great local government area of Cumberland and also Greater Western Sydney. Small businesses are the backbones of our economy. They create jobs, they drive innovation, and they make our communities more vibrant and more livable. In Cumberland, small businesses make up over 98% of all businesses. So we are a small business local government area. They contribute over $10 billion to the local economy each year, and importantly, employ over 50,000 people. So you here tonight help our community thrive. We know the last year has been particularly challenging and hard for our local businesses. Inflation has been soaring, interest rates high, rising costs, slowdown of consumer spending as the cost of living keeps rising. But despite these challenges, many businesses have demonstrated incredible resilience and innovation, with many growing their operations and even exploring new options, such as online or even exporting overseas, tapping into markets they wouldn't have thought of previously, and keeping our workforce strong. Our guest, Senator Ayres, is the Assistant Minister for Trade and Manufacturing, and I know he's quite knowledgeable about opportunities overseas, and I'm sure he'll have some great insights to share with us tonight. Cumberland has over 30,000 businesses operating in our local government area, and that's almost 1,000 more than last year. This is really good growth, and certainly shows our resilience and our willingness to work very hard. Small businesses are essential to our community's local character, particularly in Cumberland, because we know they provide us here with unique and personalised services and products that we can't find anywhere else. That's so true of our high streets. It's wonderful to see so many business owners eager to improve knowledge and business acumen tonight. Business is all about providing a solution to a problem, and sometimes the best way to innovate and solve a problem is to listen and hear the stories of people who are pioneers in their own field. Tonight you're going to hear from those experts as they teach you more about how you can grow your business for continued success. We'll hear from Carlos Antonis, who grew Chatime into Australia's largest and most recognised bubble tea brand, with over 165 outlets nationally. Jenny Din, who specialises in helping businesses and brands be seen, heard and understood. Bob Croft, who helps businesses of all sizes solve their problems, as well as grow revenue through technologies. And Louise Sparks, who's gone from a nurse in an emergency ward to the boardroom as the CEO of the Gippsland Southern Health, where she now leads over 450 people. Cumberland Council is committed to helping small business. So I just want to introduce you to our economic development team, if you don't know them already. Can you all stand up so that I can point you out? We have Chris Minoski. We have Richard Harris, and also John Curry. I want you to know that these gentlemen are all available to you for access, for support, and I know they've got incredible wealth of knowledge, and they're happy to share it with anybody who needs to see them. There's a variety of programs and services to help small businesses start, grow and succeed. They'll assist you with business advisory services, training programs, and also preparing network events like the one tonight. So finally, can I encourage all of you to support each other, and support all of our small businesses. Shop local, dine local, and use local services. I hope that you find this event valuable tonight. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Lisa. Now, a chamber is only as good as the people who get together to make it. We're glad that as a local chamber, we have grown considerably in the last year and managed to network and help out local businesses to the extent of advocacy and togetherness. And that's important really, and that's what really we hope to achieve tonight. Let's get together, let's talk to each other. The photo booth is open for business during the break. And let's have a hand for the band. Kacha, who was on earlier today as we came in. We'll hear some more from them later. But I'd like to call up now the person who heads this chamber and who's really seen to its growth through the years, Acceler8.
Guys, I should tell you, as I was walking in, I was thinking, what am I doing here when I could be out there playing golf? Can I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to start by acknowledging Tim Hayes, Assistant Minister for Trade and Assistant Minister for Manufacturing. Thanks, Tim, for listening to the Chamber all these years, and we hope to continue the relationship in the future. I'd also like to acknowledge Peter Primrose, Assistant President of the Upper House. I know, Peter, that you were a small business minister last time Labour held ministry. Thank you for attending. I'd also like to acknowledge Mayor Lisa Lake. The council and the chamber have a very close relationship in this area, and that has benefited the businesses. And we hope to continue that in the coming year, where we complement and provide services to the betterment of the local businesses. I also would like to acknowledge the various councillors who are here, as well as our friends, Chris Minosky, who we have mentioned, and Helga. They worked very closely and ensured the success of this event. I'd also like to acknowledge the speaker, Carlos Antonius. Carlos, the number of times my daughter has drawn chart, and I'll have to come and talk to you. I think I'm an equity partner now. Okay. So I'd also like to acknowledge Paranews, media partner, Kenan Burkan, our sponsor, Nayan Patel, contractually serves as accounting partner, and Oz Arab Media, our media partners as well. Welcome, and thank you for being here. With the festive season on the horizon, online purchases are set to overtake shop retail by a large percentage. While the larger businesses have responded by upgrading their e-commerce websites, offering free returns and quick deliveries, the key question is, how are small retailers going to respond to these challenges? Especially since these challenges are going to continue and online purchases are going to increase. Our chamber has responded to these business challenges. I know Lisa mentioned about the inflation rate, the higher energy prices. You know, we heard about the low unemployment a couple of days ago, which means there could be another interest rate hike. All that. And we've also been hearing about the increasing costs, which have been initiated by the large retailers, and that has had a follow-on effect in us businesses doing, increasing our cost of conducting business, right? So our chamber has actually responded to these challenges by keeping membership at a very, very low rate. Guys, we are possibly the lowest fee chamber in the whole of the state. We just charge you $50, right? Membership. Now, not only that, all our events are either free or we charge a very, very low cost, because we do not want to burden you guys. Now, let me just stop here. I forgot to acknowledge one person. Guys, we also have Maria Gojin here, who was actually our founding president, right? All those years ago, 10 years ago, she had the foresight to start the chamber in Cumberland. Can you all guys give a hand for Maria Gojin? So our chamber is directed by our 5 tenets: representation, knowledge sharing, socialization, business promotion, and cross-cultural synergies. Representation. We work with Business New South Wales. I think Karen is here, and we have surveys. We distribute every 3 months, we get feedback from you, and we advocate. And you know, the reason Tim is here today, because he always listens to the chamber, he listens to the businesses, right? Knowledge sharing, it's about bringing people here and learning from them. Not only that, but learning from each other. Socialization. So we believe that it's not all about business, right? Come to our next event on the 27th of November and you will find out. We're going to have singing, we're going to have dancing, and we're going to be dancing till morning, okay? 27th of November, please take it down. Business promotion. We are all here to network, right? Now, I earlier mentioned that we have the lowest fees across the state. What is the reason for us to do so? I have actually found that a lot of businesses join chambers, they pay $500, $700, and then they feel pressurized to have a return on investment, and they go and aggressively seek or hunt for business, right? By keeping the price low, what we want to do is for you guys to come here and enjoy yourself, right? Meet other like-minded people, learn from each other. You do not have the pressure of having paid the high fees, right? So business promotion, we have a lot of networking today. Feel free to meet and conduct your business. And the last one is cross-cultural synergies. We believe that there's a tendency sometimes for communities to work within the silos. So I'm going to quickly ask the board directors to get up. Then Brian, Kenan, can you all just get up please, wherever you are? Yeah. So we have representatives. We have representatives from the Kurdish, Turkish community, from the Middle Eastern community. We have Susan from the Korean community. We try and accommodate every community here. Mark Bruce and Erica unfortunately cannot be here. Every community that is in this area is represented on the board. So what happens is through these board directors, we then form the conduit to these communities. And we have found that that is very, very successful. Right? So, as I said, we are living in very exciting times. Artificial intelligence. It's all about AI these days, right? Electric vehicles, Internet of Things, the blockchain and Web3. They are all going to change the way we conduct business. Believe me, especially as small business owners. So as a small business entrepreneur, we have to constantly grapple with this enormous flow of information. And that is where we as a chamber come in. We want to bring in experts and talk to you. Something that you would not normally have in your busy business life, right? Technology will remain the key differentiator. And we want to be able to assist you to overcome that great barrier of knowledge, especially within the technology sector. So our chamber has embarked on this digital education series to educate small businesses. And as I said, in cross-cultural synergies, we are looking at trade. We're currently focusing on China, India, and Korea. Now, just to give you a bit of information, we have communicated with Chamber in Vietnam, who are willing to actually take care of all expenses once you land in Vietnam. So if any of you today are looking at expanding your business to Vietnam, contact me. All you have to do is pay for your airfare. The rest is taken care of. And we are planning a trip in December, right? So talk to us and we can organize that further. So our events are normally held the last Monday of every month. But the next one, as I mentioned earlier, is on the 27th of November. Please come along, enjoy yourself. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thanks for that. We're privileged to have as our first keynote speaker today, Senator the Honorable Tim Ayres. Now, anyone who knows me knows my knowledge of politics is absolutely crap. But I'll tell you one thing. Someone who quotes my friend Troy Casadale's Shadows on the Hill in his maiden speech to Parliament has to be a decent guy. So welcome, Tim. And today Tim holds the position of Assistant Minister for Trade and Manufacturing in the Albanese Labour government. Welcome, Tim.
Well, I wasn't sure what to expect at this event. I didn't expect another fan of Australian country music, so I already feel very relaxed. I hope you all are too. Isn't the band fantastic? Really? I also would join with the other speakers today and acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the First Nations people, and perhaps as a representative of a federal Labor government that made a commitment to the Australian people to take the question of the First Nations voice and recognition of First Nations people to a constitutional referendum. One of the things that you will find about this government is that we do what we say we are going to do. That it is very important, in my view, that Australians are able to reconnect with a sense of confidence with government, and that when we make a commitment during an election campaign, which I think the Prime Minister did, maybe, I think somebody actually counted, if you can imagine, there's journos who count all these things. Somebody said 46 times, I think that's probably right. That we will follow through and do what it is that we commit to. And that we will not do things in a half-hearted way. Anthony Albanese is an old friend of mine, an old colleague of mine, and I know that he says what he means and he means what he says. And he did not approach this referendum in a half-hearted way. He was all in on the referendum. And he made the argument. But also, he is a Prime Minister who respects our democratic institutions and unequivocally, as he said on Saturday night, accepts the result of the referendum. Now that does not mean, as Australians, that we should shrink away from the task of reconciliation. It does not mean that we should shift one iota in our determination to make sure there is justice and decency and equality in our society, and that we deal in a meaningful way with closing the gap. And the government will, as I said, firstly unequivocally accept the result of the referendum, but also listen carefully. You won't find us in a hyper-partisan way trying to politicise the issues, as difficult as they are. What you will find is us listening carefully to Australians right across the country and acting in a careful way and in a way that is open and transparent for everyone to see. Because I can tell you, as our Assistant Trade Minister, that the fact that we have 65,000 years of continuous culture in Australia, that is the oldest continuous culture in the world. Nobody else. I travel around the planet representing Australia, and I meet with countries and travel to destinations with thousands of years of culture, thousands of years of development and history, and many of you come from some of these places with rich, beautiful cultures. But here in Australia, we can say for 65,000 years, we have had Aboriginal people existing here in what has been one of the toughest environments for civilization around the world. It is and it should be a source of deep national pride. It is and it should be one of our greatest national assets. And it is. When I travel around the Pacific or Southeast Asia, I was in India recently, and the Commerce Minister said to me at our last cabinet meeting, Prime Minister Modi raised this question of the depth of Australia's history. So these are not trivial matters. They don't deserve the politicisation, of course, that we've seen over the course of the last little while, but we will, I thought it was important tonight, a week after what has been a pretty difficult 3 months, I think, for Australia and Australians, to just say to you, listen carefully, and we will do what you expect us to do. Of course, one of the interesting things about Aboriginal Australia is that they were our first traders. The history of trade between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in our north, into Southeast Asia and with China goes back many, many hundreds of years. Macassans from Indonesia travelled to northeast Arnhem Land, trading in dried sea cucumber, trepang, something I've never tried, I have to say. Maybe one day, maybe one day. There are famous paintings of cockatoos from the in the Vatican Gallery. You know, the trade between Australia and the world is not just a European invention. It is something that goes back many, many hundreds of years. Of course, our relationships into the region, the role that people from Bangladesh and India played in our earliest part of post-European settlement trade is absolutely fundamental to the survival of the colony just a few kilometres over there in Port Jackson Harbour. So our trading relationships go back a long way, and our relationships in the region go back a long way. But we, on the foundations of that, in international relations and trading relations, what we must do is not be complacent. We must not be complacent. And that's the approach that the government is going to take more broadly in terms of trade. And I want to come to that all in a moment. Also with the realisation that one of the most popular things you can do as a visiting politician is not, on a Friday night, is not to speak all night. I got that message. Early on. I want to acknowledge my friend Acceler8, the mayor. Lisa is an old colleague of mine. Well, that came out the wrong way, didn't it? Since she was very, very young, Lisa and I have known each other for a long time. She has made a great contribution in her career in the law, in politics, and now as leader of this most important council in Western Sydney. Peter Primrose, MLC, who I think more than any other politician, we've got our youngest delegate here, it's very good to see, more than any other politician in Macquarie Street understands Western Sydney. But really, in terms of the Labor caucus's development over the course of the last, again, Peter, I don't want to make you sound old either, 20 years. Almost all of post-settlement Australia has been dominated by the Primrose ascendancy in the Legislative Council. But it has had this impact of making sure that Labor caucuses at the state level stayed rooted in the interests of Western Sydney, of small businesses and families and workers, and Peter has made a very significant contribution. Manuel Salvarage, again, an old friend. This is, and your colleagues on the Chamber of Commerce. I can tell you, I speak to Chambers of Commerce all over Australia. This is the biggest and most vibrant event I've been to in a very long time. So congratulations. Councillors Baruki, Elmore, Garrard and Hughes, local government actually really matters. Imagine what this area would be like. I used to work in Granville. I have to say, I ate at lunchtimes. If it was a day where I was doing what I was told, I'd get a bone meat from one of the bakeries. If it wasn't, I'd go to the big Lebanese, one of the big Lebanese chicken shops in, I know it's horrific, but I'm the physical specimen you see before me in no small part due to the contribution of those chicken sandwiches. But imagine what our communities would be like here without the role of local government making sure our streets are beautiful, that our main streets work, and that it works for you as small business. Small business employs 6 million Australians. You are the engine room of the Australian economy, and you need a government that acts in your interests and makes business work for you. I echo what Lisa said. Shop local, buy local, support each other. You are not competitors. You are here to support each other. And a strong local network of local businesses is a very good start. I did want to say before I move on to some of the trade questions as well. Of course, it is so good to see such a strong representation of multicultural Australia. It is absolutely fantastic, and it is one of the things that the government in Canberra and the government in Macquarie Street in Sydney care deeply about. And I know that for many of you, the last few weeks, of course, will mean that many of you are thinking about family overseas. And I wanted to say to you this, that Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong and others, Andrew Giles as the Minister for Immigration and Multiculturalism, we are absolutely aware, viscerally, deeply aware of how challenging these issues are. And the government has been very clear and consistent in the way that it's approached our external focus, making it very clear that civilian lives really matter. We also are very attentive to what is going to be required to make sure that in Australia that we stay strong together. And there will be forces, of course, that want to play some pretty nasty politics with some of this. Andrew Giles in particular, as the Minister for Multiculturalism, we will support our multicultural communities through all of this. We will protect the fabric of our democracy, and we will stand strong against the kind of extremism that would drive Australians apart. That doesn't wash away how tough some of this is, but the government is onto these questions. I just say in terms of our trade, we have as a country had a benign set of trading conditions over the course of the last 40 years. 40 years of almost uninterrupted economic growth, built on the foundations of an economy where we have been trading mostly commodities with the rest of the world. And the foundations upon which that has been built, of course, everything has completely changed. We live in the fastest growing region of the world in human history, full of challenges and full of opportunities. And of course, great power contest, intensifying geopolitical competition in our region, the threat of conflict overseas. You can see the impact of the Russia's illegal war in Ukraine, what the impact that has had on inflation, the impact of COVID on our supply chains. All of this means as a country that we need to focus sharply on what it is that we do at home and how it is that we trade around the world. And some of the fundamentals for Australia have not been very encouraging. Productivity in Australia has continued, productivity growth has continued to fall. Our level of economic complexity, that is how complex our exports and our economic production is, has continued to fall as well. There's, for the economics nerds in the audience, and I know that there are many of you there, the Harvard University has its economic complexity index. Australia has fallen from 50th to 93rd in the world. As our manufacturing industry has been offshored overseas, from 50th to 93rd in the world between Pakistan and Uganda in terms of our economic complexity. Manufacturing has fallen to below 7% of our GDP. And with all of the challenges that we face, as I said, in the fastest growing region of the world in human history, with the challenges of climate and energy and focusing on low cost, low emissions energy to make sure your businesses remain competitive, with the security challenges, with the food security challenges of this region, with increasing social inequality. The idea that we can make our way through what is going to be one of the most consequential decades in our history without lifting our level of economic complexity and our industrial capability, I don't think anybody believes it. So the government is really driving two approaches. One is increasing our level of industrial capability, essentially bringing Australian manufacturing back. With the largest investment in Australian manufacturing in our post-war history, $15 billion in the National Reconstruction Fund, and many more programs besides, to make sure that we are investing in good ideas, in new manufacturing and rebuilding manufacturing. And I tell you what, manufacturing does not get rebuilt inside Sydney CBD or the inner city. It's built in Western Sydney, it's built in Western Melbourne, and it's built in regional Australia. The second thing we are determined to do as a government is to diversify our trading relationships and improve the resilience of our supply chains, and that is where you come in. We've seen, of course, the impact of what happens when one major trading partner decides to use trade impediments in the context of a global dispute, and the impact that that had on a series of our trading markets. Well, our answer to that is two things. One is diversify our markets, and the government is working hard. This weekend, the Trade Minister will be in Osaka, meeting with the European Union, and we'll be fighting hard for more access for Australian exporters to that market of 450 million citizens of the European Union. The new India agreement, the UK agreement, working with all of our partners in the region to open up new trading relationships. Secondly, diversifying what it is that Australia exports to the world. Going beyond the commodities to more manufactured goods, more complex services, where the good jobs are. And that is the agenda that we've embarked upon. It is a very significant agenda. It has no complacency in it about our place in the world. It is about Australia saying we are going to make sure that we've got a government that acts in our national interest and works hard on these questions. And you have all got a part to play in that. The final thing I wanted to say before I sit down in my sort of 15-minute of a 10-minute speech is just say to you, we are not a government that is going to go around looking for an argument. We are not a government that is there for the announcements. We will not be as flashy and showy as other governments have been. What we do say, though, is as Australians we've got a responsibility to work together to deal with these big challenges, to talk to each other like adults, to talk about the facts, and then work together to do it. And small business and organisations like this must have a seat at the table. You are just as important as the big companies. you employ many, many millions of Australians. The richness and complexity of the kind of businesses that you operate and your relationships with each other mean, strengthen the Australian economy and strengthen our social and economic resilience. So we are deadly serious about, we want business, we want trade unions, we want our university sector, we want our local government, our state and territory governments, all to be working together, not pointing our fingers at each other with an easy game of play. And that means not only do we have to work together, but we have to step up and take responsibility. And it's on that happy note, I'm very happy to concede back to our MC, our country music loving MC, and say I am also very interested to hear from Carlos, as the CEO of Shah-Time. I too have kids who have, I don't know how they got my credit card, but Broadway Shopping Centre, Carlos, goodness, and I used to mock bubble tea. I thought, why would you drink? It's fantastic. It's the best. I understand why they did it.